The case against crime intelligence head Dumisani Khumalo and his co-accused has been postponed to the 6th of November. The postponement is to allow the state to file an application for the review of the decision by Chief Magistrate Vusimuzi Mahlangu to recuse himself. Mahlangu announced his decision yesterday. Now, KwaZulu-Natal Police Commissioner Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi raised concern over Mahlangu's handling of that matter at the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry. Furthermore, Advocate Malesela Tefo has accused Khumalo and his co-accused of harassment, claiming they're seeking relaxed bail conditions to return to work and continue intimidating others.
The accused today, Mr. Khumalo and others, they were here to bring the application for the relaxation of their bail conditions. So, according to me, the previous magistrate who recused himself, Mr. Mahlangu, who is also in my case anyway, I'm coming again on the 22nd of October here. So, there was nothing wrong about the bail condition, based on the character of the accused they are, you see. So, now they want to come and ask for the relaxation of the bail condition here so that they can go back to work. And for them to go back to work, people are going to be harassed. Khumalo and others, they've been harassing the people, unlawfully doing the monitoring of the communication, private communication of the people. You see, since he arrived at the crime intelligence, Khumalo has been doing so unlawful things. You see, so while I was in prison, I've been monitored. So my communication has been monitored. My communication with my family, my wife, my children, my lawyers.
All right, joining us for more on General Dumisani Khumalo's court appearance is SABC News reporter Lopang Alamu. Good afternoon, Lopang. Thank you very much for joining us. So the case by General Khumalo to have his bail conditions relaxed has been postponed to the 6th of November. Just share with us what took place in court today.
Mfundo, quite an interesting court day, actually. From the moment we got into the courtroom, we actually noticed some security detail going to where Khumalo and his co-accused were to be seated, and just really scanning the area. Now that's just, we'll get into that a bit later. And just before court commenced, we saw, as you had just heard, the former advocate Teffo, who made some damning allegations, and now what he said was he was there to apply to be a friend of the court, as a law-abiding citizen and not as a legal representative.
Because he's disbarred, of course.
Definitely, and over 2 years ago, actually. And he said, no, he needs to be a friend of the court. Now, this to ensure that he assists the state in their case, and that's just what he did. However, we heard sentiments from the defense, as well as the state and the magistrate himself saying, but this is not the time to make that particular application. You do know how the legal processes work. You do know that you need to make an application. You also do know that you can't just come into court and address us. He did, however, stay for the duration of the court case. And that's when we got a chance to speak to him thereafter to say, but what is the actual intention? And that is when we heard that he alleges that he's been intimidated, he's been threatened, as well as also mentioning the fact that he also understands that that is what they're doing to the accused in the Senzo Meyiwa case.
But quite a lot of developments, honestly, around this case, because just building up to today's appearance, we already knew that the magistrate had recused himself, but we also knew that as per SABC, their own internal processes had since cleared General Khumalo. Just share that with us.
And that is where now the bail amendment comes in to say, but we have been cleared at work. Why is this taking so long? Specifically with this court case. And now they dealt another blow with regards to the recusal, because this means that they need to wait until November. And should there be any more delays, this case might go all the way till next year. And they cannot go to work until those bail amendments have been made. And unfortunately for them, really just a priority for them rather, is the fact that they want to go back to work. And we do know that they are suspended. However, they are still getting paid. So just a number of questions regarding what is it exactly that they want to do at work. You do know that the main case is not the bail amendment case. The main case here is the fraud and corruption case, against Dino Mugwele. Now, she only faces charges of falsifying her qualifications, right? She's a 30-year-old woman who has no prior experience in the South African policing service. However, she was then taken, or given rather, a position that is, it's a specialist position within the crime intelligence division, and that really raised a lot of eyebrows. Now the question is, should they be allowed to go to work, or should they return to work rather, what implication does that have on the main case at hand?
Which is essentially HR, at least that's what many have argued. But then there's the other element. Many have still been talking about General Khumalo's health. We know he had taken ill during his testimony at the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry. But beyond that, there have also been reports that perhaps he was still ill. But given that today he appeared before court, some could easily assume that perhaps now he's quite better, but one would say that shouldn't be the only indication. But if he goes on to put an application to say, relax my bail conditions, I actually want to work, then one would then assume that possibly he is quite much better. Did you get a sense that he was somebody that was completely healed and better?
Mfundo, he looked as healthy as he did the very first time he made a court appearance. Now, this was around August, or between July and August. And that is the question we actually wanted to put to him. However, he did decline speaking to us. But we actually did just really want to know, are you feeling better? Are you then making a return to the commission? And what could have caused this sudden illness? And that is when I now bring in that fact that we saw some people trying to see if there was anything on the bench
to surveil the area.
Definitely, and we also saw them wiping that particular. That was the first time we actually experienced that in that particular case. So was that really a security issue? Were they suspecting something? And they were also really quite intimidating because they did ask some of our colleagues if there's a problem. So those were our video journalists who were actually just looking on and trying to find out if this is the right time to take visuals or not. And they just walked up to them and said, oh, is there a problem here? And quite a bit shaky then as we tried to go deeper into asking him, are you well? Are you okay? He did decline to comment on that, but he looked okay from what we understand. And also, given the fact that he wants to go back to work, means that he's in perfect shape and perfect health to resume his duties.
But most certainly, if we were to read anything into this, it means there is now an element of mistrust or a trust deficit with just individuals in general or civilians. But we'll leave it there for now, Lopang. Thank you very much for that update. That's SABC News reporter Lopang Alamu, who's been monitoring proceedings at General Khumalo's court appearance. Of course, they return on the 6th of November.